Donald Trump's threats of tariffs could threaten hundreds of thousands of Canadian mortgage-paying jobs. The only thing a bully responds to is strength. So where is our plan to fight back? Where is the war room?
These are the words of Jagmeet Singh Dhaliwal, Canada's new Democratic Party chief, against US President-elect Donald Trump, who pitched for 25% tariff on Canadian products. Jagmeet Singh Dhaliwal was arms in arms with Justin Trudeau as he supported his minority government in House of Commons. Dhaliwal withdrew his support in September on pretext to distance himself from Canadian public disaffection over the rising cost of living and lack of housing. In a direct challenge to President Trump, how Dhaliwal, a pro-Khalistani NDP chief, calls for the war against Trump, terming him bully.
Donald Trump's threats of tariffs could threaten hundreds of thousands of Canadian mortgage-paying jobs. The only thing a bully responds to is strength. So where is our plan to fight back? Where is the war room? Where is a concrete plan to bring our issue before CUSMA? Why isn't the Prime Minister fighting like hell for Canadian jobs?
Hear, 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 hear.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, rather than panicking, we're engaging in constructive ways to protect Canadian jobs like we have before. I don't think the idea of going to war with the United States is what anyone wants. What we will do is stand up for Canadian jobs as we have before, as we will continue to. Stand up for the prosperity we create when we work together. Stand up for the challenges that we're facing, that we're protecting Canadians from. There is work we can do together. That is the work we will do, seriously, methodically, but without freaking out the way the leader of the NDP seems to be.
Donald Trump, who vouched America First policy, is up against drug traffickers and illegal immigrants, particularly from Canada and Mexico, to protect American interests. Trump's America First policy focuses on protecting domestic industries from foreign competition. By imposing high tariffs, he seeks to encourage domestic production and reduce reliance on imported goods from neighboring countries and global competitors like China. Trump has consistently criticized increased trade deficit with Canada. According to the US Census Bureau and the US Bureau of Economic Analysis, announced on November 5, 2024, that the goods and services deficit was $84.4 billion in September, up $13.6 billion from $70.8 billion in August. But Canadian security agencies, while pretending to be working with US, have been pushing US on borders in drugs and illegal immigrants. Justin Trudeau and leaders like Jagmeet Singh Dhaliwal face allegations of bringing liberal policies that help drug cartels and traffickers flourish and tarnish relations with the US.
Trump's tariffs are designed to force Canada to tighten its borders against illegal migration and drug trafficking. Quebec has been demanding for years that Ottawa fix its colander of a border. Quebec has even had to deploy the SQ, Quebec's police. For years, the Bloc Québécois has been hounding Ottawa about human smuggling and organized crime. Even before Trump was elected, we were calling for more resources at the border. Despite all of those warnings, Ottawa did nothing, and our economy is now threatened by Trump's tariffs. Do they now understand that we have to take action at the border? The Honourable Minister of Public Safety. Mr. Speaker, we didn't just start to understand it now. We have been supporting our border agencies, the RCMP, CBSA. We've been doing this for years. We have the same interests as the Americans. On both sides of the border, we want to ensure the safety and integrity of our borders. Canada wants to determine what happens in Canada. It's the same in the United States. We have a long history of daily teamwork with the United States, and we will continue in that vein.
According to statistics from the US Customs and Border Protection, the law enforcement agency responsible for American borders, hundreds of thousands of pounds in illegal drug imports have been seized in recent years. At the US-Canada border, better known as the Northern Border Region, in 2022, the agency seized roughly 60,000 pounds of drugs, representing about 9% of the yearly total of 656,000 pounds of drugs. The following fiscal year, about 55,000 pounds of drugs were seized in the Northern Border region, or about 10% of the annual total in the entire US. Then in the 2024 fiscal year, which ended in September, US border security agents seized about 11,600 pounds of drugs. That is about 2% of the year's total.
We need a Canada First plan to fix what the Prime Minister broke on the addiction crisis and illegal drugs. 47,000 Canadians have died under this Prime Minister's watch. That's more than we lost in the Second World War. We need to fully reverse his liberalization of drugs that kills our people and threatens our borders. We need to secure our borders against the importation of chemical precursors that make fentanyl and other deadly drugs. Criminals are taking advantage of our drug policies and cooking fentanyl ready for export. Will the Prime Minister finally admit his policies have failed and end his insane drug policies?
But Trump mentioned fentanyl specifically in his jurisdiction for the big tariff on everything. The potent opioid is so powerful that just a few grains can be fatal, according to Health Canada, which blames the drugs for causing high rates of overdose and overdose deaths. Most of these drugs seized in US-Canada borders in recent years have been marijuana, cocaine, khat, and other drugs like amphetamines, hashish, and opium. The agency's statistics show. At the same time, fentanyl seized in this region was a fraction of the amount of the drug that border agency has obtained each year, both in weight and by the number of doses. In the 2023 fiscal year, the agency seized 1.2 billion doses of fentanyl. 239,000 of them, or 0.02%, were found at the US-Canada border. The following fiscal year, which ended in September, the number of fentanyl doses seized at the US-Canada border jumped to 839,000, a number that represented about 0.07% of the annual total.
Mr. Speaker, on this side of the House, we've invested over $1 billion in treatment, prevention, harm reduction to save lives. We've worked with our U.S. counterparts on precursors, and we will continue to do the work to save lives based on evidence, based on healthcare, and based on protecting those who need help the most. We will not look away, Mr. Speaker.
The same border agency that tracks drug seizures also publishes statistics on encounters with people who are apprehended, turned away, and expelled after entering the US, a number that jumped from about 109,000 at the US-Canada land border in 2022 to almost 2 lakh in the 2024 fiscal year.
Honourable member for Fort McMurray Cold Lake.
That's not a plan. We need a Canada First plan to fix what the Prime Minister broke on the addiction crisis and illegal drugs. There's been a 200% annual increase in drug deaths under his watch. We need to fully reverse his liberalization of drugs, ban the drugs, prosecute every trafficker, secure our borders against drugs and chemical precursors that are making fentanyl and other deadly drugs. We need treatment and recovery so we can bring our loved ones home drug-free. Will the Prime Minister finally act in the interest of Canadians and fully reverse course on his radical liberalization of drugs?
Hear, hear.
Canada pretends to take action, but actually his government did not. The reason is Justin Trudeau's Liberal government panders pro-Khalistani politicians. The bunch of pro-Khalistani Sikh politicians have become so important in Canadian politics that now they are calling the shots. These holy grail of politicians are directly and indirectly involved in drug trafficking and human trafficking. The gangland rivalries that led to the murder of pro-Khalistani leader Hardeep Singh Nizar shows the level of engagement between the criminals and these politicians.
There's no plan from this minister, and after 9 years of breaking our immigration system, his plan is to ask them to leave nicely. And now they're staring at 25% tariffs on all Canadian goods that will crush our Canadian workers and cripple our economy. We need a Canada First plan that fixes the immigration system and ensures that the 5 million people will leave when their visas expire next year. When will we see that plan?
Good job.
The Honourable Minister of Immigration, Citizenship and Refugees.
Mr. Speaker, again, we see now the Conservatives roll over first program. They're talking about people that are here that do routinely leave the country. They come in as tourists. It includes a vast array of people. He's answering an OPQ question that they posed us. We were very precise in the answers they gave it. Sometimes it's not 5 million people, Mr. Speaker. It's a number of documents attached to the same person. So let's park the hysteria. Let's talk about real things. Let's talk about the managed plan to migration that is actually doing very well in this country, according to Canadians. Hear, hear.
In British Columbia, Canadian authorities recently arrested Jagmeet Singh Dhaliwal, an Indian origin man connected to a large-scale drug lab allegedly producing fentanyl and methamphetamine for exports. Separately, another Indian origin agent, Harsh Kumar Ramanlal Patel, was convicted last week for running a human smuggling operation that tragically led to the death of a Gujarati family of 4 who froze while attempting to cross the border on foot. Bad actors such as fake colleges and corporations have exploited Canada's weak, corrupt and flawed security regime.
Plan for economy and security that puts Canada first. But despite the fact the Prime Minister has known for years that Trump was threatening these tariffs, and for 3 weeks that President Trump had won the election, the only plan he has is a Zoom call. No plan to reverse his disastrous liberalization of drugs that have killed people and now threaten our borders. No plan to fix the broken borders that he caused. No plan to cancel the tax increases that will drive billions and many jobs away. Where's the plan to put Canada first?
Canadian police and security agencies most of the time are hand in gloves with these criminal elements as they reap benefit out of such activities, and they endorse such crimes because they know that these gangsters, drug cartels and human traffickers have political patronage.
Panicking and falling back on slogans like the leader of the opposition, we rolled up our sleeves and we're getting to work. We're working with all the premiers, pulling together in a Team Canada approach because that's how we defend Canadian jobs from coast to coast to coast. I spoke with Donald Trump yesterday evening, talked about how important it was for us to work together to solve some of the challenges we're facing as a continent, as countries, but also work to grow our economy, protect our workers on both sides of the border. This is the responsible, methodical approach we're taking as we move forward, while our opponent falls back on slogans and fear.
But like America First, the voices for Canada First also are being raised and heard that may reflect in 2025 elections for House of Commons. Thanks for watching National Defense. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram.